Hi, everyone. Landry Ethredge here with Ethredge Counseling Group, joined today by Dr. Etta Gant talking to us about grief. This is a four-part series, different types of grief that can affect us. Today, we're talking specifically about children and grief, even our inner child in grief, which I'm really excited to get to at the end, with some self-reflective prompts that we can do that we can use in our own healing journey to help our inner child grief. So I'm excited to get to that. But first, can you talk to us a little bit about how grief might be different for an adult versus a child?
Hmm. Well, I think the biggest difference is just in like what we know and cognitive processing, but I think it's actually a lot more similar than we want it to be. I think we want kids to feel like spared from grief. Hopefully, the less they know, the better. Trying to save them from it, but kids of almost any age, starting really young, go through their own grieving process. And they know what's going on. They know that, or they need to know that someone is gone. And if they don't, then they want to know what's going on. And am I going to see this person again? And they need clarity. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it breaks our hearts to think about. We want to protect children and our kids from having to feel the pain that we feel in grief and hope that we can spare them. But as sad as it is, it's just something that we can't do. What we can do is provide support, connection, clarity, to help them feel like they can handle grief because it's inevitable.
Mm-hmm. So really kind of more empowering them to be able to move through that. I think about what we a lot of times I think what we tell kids, and I'm wondering if this is what's helpful, is something along the lines of kind of putting a silver lining to it of like they're in a better place or they've gone away or something along those lines. Is that something you would recommend, or how would you, recommend talking about death to a child?
Well, I think things like they're in a better place. It's not inherently bad, but it's not the first way that I think we should explain grief because that can feel really confusing. It's like, what is this bad place? Where are they? Does that mean they're coming back? And I'm talking about like a young kid. That's hard for them to understand. Okay, they're in a better place. My favorite place is McDonald's. Is that where they are? Right? Like it's that can be really confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that might not land with them either, right? That might feel really invalidating to what they're thinking about this loss.
Mhm.
Um, so it's something that when we're talking to kids about grief, we really open the door up for them to explain how it feels to us.
Mm.
Being clear on this person is dead, this person is gone. Um, I'm so devastated, right? Showing your own feelings about it. Giving them time, especially when you're first telling them to ask questions, because that's most likely going to be their first instinct because they are going to want to understand what this means. And those are going to be really hard questions too, to answer, right? You want to shield them from these things, which is why it's important to practice self care while you're grieving as well. Sorry, I was kind of going on a tangent. I can't remember what
Well,
the
no,
initial
I
question.
well, I think what I'm hearing is really to summarize is to be honest, to be clear, and then to be age appropriate. If I were going
Yeah.
to summarize sort of what you're describing, it's not to sort of find an alternative way necessarily, but to be honest and even use the word, you said you used the word death, to say what it is really. And to
Kids,
age
they
appropriate.
learn about dying, like they're already asking, what happens when, what's death? What's this? What's that? Even if it's someone they know or not. There's so much like curiosity and wanting to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
What would you say kids need most through the grieving process?
Open space to let whatever it is that comes up come up for them, and to just provide constant connection.
Mm.
Um, Honoring their loss, remembering, and not telling them what to feel or think about it is, I think, the most important thing.
Mhm.
Letting them tell you what they feel and what they think about it, and their natural grieving process will happen on its own.
Something you were talking about in a previous video on one of the topics of grief was to use art and movement in the grieving process. And I think that is such a beautiful way to help. You were talking about modeling how to grieve, modeling grieving and help and having them join in on that to, draw a picture of the loved one or write a letter or any of those sort of creative things, planting a
Uh,
plant in honor of, or whatever it might be, is so low hanging fruit to help kids process. Um, Now I'm thinking about grief. Also, in another video, you were mentioning different types of grief, and I know you were saying for children, grief isn't always about death. Can you explain what that means? Grief isn't always about death.
Sure, yeah. So, grief is the response to loss. So, loss can look like a lot of different things. It can be the loss of what you knew of your family when parents separate. It can be the loss of social connection when you move schools, right? It can be the loss of like your first pain of feeling like you aren't enough, not making the team, right? Loss of this like uninhibited self confidence, right? Those losses are really important to be processed so that we can come up with our new meaning of the experience.
New meaning. New meaning being the last stage of the stages of grief.
Sure, sure, sure.
Meaning making, yeah. So yeah, things like divorce or moving houses or not making the team. There's grief in all of that. And you were saying previously, grief can be a part of even good things. We move into a new house, but we have to say goodbye to the old one, right? Um,
Yeah.
so
But like, you love that swing set at
yes.
in the back of your house. Your parents don't even know how much it meant to you, how you looked forward to going there every day and climbing up there and seeing your favorite floorboard that has your heart and initial on it, right? Even though maybe this move is going to be so much better, but there's so much loss and nostalgia and grief that comes up with change.
So really, anytime there's change or disappointment, grief is involved. Is what I'm hearing. Now
I know.
we promised everybody that we would talk about inner child. You're allowing your inner child to grieve, which is a very interesting concept. Can you talk to us about that?
hmm Well, I think it's helpful for us to think about our inner child, to think about our child self and grief, to help us heal like any unprocessed wounds from the past, and also to help us understand what kids need.
Mm,
What can you think of in a time where you were a kid and experiencing loss and grief? What was not helpful? Someone telling you that everything's okay and to just move on. To tell you, let's hold it together at this funeral. Grandma wouldn't want you to be crying. She'd want you to be happy.
mm,
Um, Maybe those things weren't helpful. And so going back to your younger self and reflecting on what do you wish that someone would have told you? What do you wish you could have done? What do you wish you could have said to that person
mm.
if you knew that they were going? Things like that.
I love that. Well,
Hmm.
thank you so much for talking about this pretty difficult topic, but really important. And yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into the other three blogs and videos you've created on this topic of grief. So thank you so much.
Thank you.